When people ask me how's the real estate market in Palm Beach County, they're really asking me four basic questions, which is how much are homes selling for, how long does it take to sell those homes, how many homes are selling, and are we in a buyer or a seller's market? Today we're going to answer those questions. Welcome to the November 2025 Real Estate Market Update for Palm Beach County, Single Family Homes Edition. Median price $680,000. All right, look, if you've watched me for a while, you know I tell you don't put a whole lot of stock in median pricing. Reason for it is in Palm Beach County, we have a very, very diverse real estate environment. If you tell me you want to spend $680,000 in certain parts of this county, I will tell you you're out of your mind. Isn't going to happen. Other areas, $680,000 will get you a really nice house. We don't have a uniform market here. We have homes against the ocean. We have homes in the Everglades. We have homes that hug up against 95. The dichotomy of pricing is quite large. That's why I say don't put a whole lot of stock in it. But what I do say is look at it in terms of the overall trend. Overall trend is, you look over the last 5 years, pricing is up, right? You will also notice pricing is not crashing. I was promised a real estate crash this year. I kept telling you guys it wasn't going to happen. Kept giving you the reasons why, and I'm sticking to them. This whole thing of us crashing is way overblown. Just pulled the statistics a few days ago. In Palm Beach County, more than 40% of the home sales were in cash. Without leverage, I don't know how you're going to convince me that people are going to be in so much trouble that they have to fire sale their homes. Just not buying it, guys. Just not buying it. So look, here it is. Median pricing, not crashing. All right, number of properties sold, 1,118. A few things that I want to point out here. Let's first talk about how I'm a little surprised that this went up. We have seasonality down here. If you haven't seen me do this before, let's do it quickly. May or June, every year, Palm Beach County peaks in the total number of homes sold, and it bottoms January of every year. We're going to go through this just to illustrate the point. June, January. June, January. May, January. Happens every year. So we should still be trending down here towards, look, this has been the low the last 3 years, right? Right around these 750, 800 sales, right? That's been the low. So I was expecting this chart to keep on coming down and bottom somewhere around this 750 sales. Look, we went the other direction. September to October, we took a surprise bounce upwards. I would even been surprised with leveling, never mind upwards. This to me indicates things are a bit stronger than even I thought they were going to be. I thought we'd be back down towards where we've been the last couple of years, that 750, 800 sales. Really curious to see if this holds. Really curious. For those of you that are curious, and I think it's worth noting, October of 24, we had 941 sales. Again, we're up to 1,118 sales. That's a significant increase year over year, right? I try not to look too much at month over month, just a little too tight of a timeline, but I do think year over year is an interesting thing to look at. So look, once again, I'm not finding the doom and gloom here, folks. All right, sold to list price. This tells you from the original listing price what discount a property sold at relative to that original listing price. Buyers want to see this number lower. They want to see, down here so that they have more room to negotiate for like 10% off. That's a really good thing for a buyer. Conversely, sellers want to be up here, more than 100% of asking price. Bidding wars, everything selling over asking. That is not our market. But look, folks, I want you to look at something. Since 23, let's call it. We're heading into 2 years where this has been relatively stable. I do think a few things have happened in the market. I think sellers have become more cognizant that they cannot just slap an aspirational price on a listing and think that they're going to get it. This still is not the market for that, man. You got to price competitively. The more sellers that I'm talking to now, the more that I feel that people are out of the gates being more realistic with just, tell me where the home can trade, where, a year and a half ago, it was, well, I know what the other sales are doing, but I want to go above that. And that was a bad strategy. So anyways, here we are. Buyers, you can expect to get about 5% off a listing price. Anything more than 5%, and you really did well for yourself. Sellers, understand you're probably going to have to negotiate about 5% off of your asking price. So realistically, if you want to work that into your asking price, I get it. Median days on market, in other words, how long is it going to take me to sell my house? Keep in mind, guys, this statistic is how long a property went from active to pending sale, not pending to closed. So if you want to know how long a transaction's truly taking if you're a seller, just add on 30 to 45 days on the back of this. Let's just call it 90 days. So let's say from the day that you go to list your property until the day you get money in your bank account, it's probably going to run around 90 days. That's what I think is realistic and fair. 46 days on market. Who to higher days on market favor? Of course, they favor buyers. It's gonna mean that sellers aren't seeing as many offers. They're likely more negotiable. On the flip side of things, when we're way down here, 10 days on market, it means if you see something on Monday, you got to make a decision by Friday. Here, if you saw something a month and a half ago, on average, that's how long you have to make a decision before a property goes pending. Assuming you saw it on the first day it went on market, but you get my point. So, look, I think we're in a relatively healthy place here. Are we a little bit above where I would say kind of the middle line is? Somewhere around 35 days, a little bit. Every year, this number drops down as we get towards January. So let's see what happens this year. All right, before we go on, I do want to remind you, look, if you're thinking about buying or selling, whether that's next week or next year, or if you just want to talk about the real estate market in Palm Beach County, pick up the phone, 786-443-7203. That is my cell phone number. I promise if you call it, the only person you're going to get is me. So let's talk about some stuff. Honestly, guys, don't wait, because the sooner I get involved with the deal that I'm doing for you, the easier it is for me. And in general, I just like to talk about real estate. So don't be shy, all right, folks? So for the longest time, I went through median price per square foot and total dollar volume and told you guys those were pretty useless statistics. So we're just going to skip going through these going forward. We're going to shorten the time of these videos up a little bit. All right, give me one statistic I'm allowed to look at to judge a housing market. I'm going to tell you I want to see months of supply. What really matters more than supply and demand? And this chart does a great job of summing that up, right? Look, if you're a seller, you want low months of supply. If you're a buyer, you want high months of supply. Since January of 22 all the way through, with the exception of a little bit of dip here, it was pretty much a good line up where it got better and better for buyers, and it was easier and easier to be a buyer. And I kind of kept warning, look, if a few things happen, primarily sellers decide, I don't like the pricing, I don't like the days on market, I'm just going to pull my listing. And if that happened, buyers would have fewer choices. I think that's playing out. Look, it is always better to use seasonality to your advantage and to be a buyer coming into these months. I can't stress this enough. If you're a buyer now and you're sitting around thinking, hey, New Year's resolution, we're going to do this in January, we're going to buy a house, please. Whether it's through me, another agent, I don't care. Just out of the goodness of my heart, I'm telling you, don't wait. November and December are fantastic months for buyers to shop for properties. You have more choice because you have less competition. Everyone gets busy with the holidays. Agents, we hate listing properties November, December, because we just know the sellers are going to get frustrated because we have no showings, we have nothing going on. Come January, pendulum swings. All the people making New Year's resolutions, in season down here. It moves the other direction and we start ramping up quickly. if you don't have a contract in by the second week of January, you start missing the boat. But really, the best time to shop for houses as a buyer, November, December. Man, this is when you want to get going. So if you've been thinking about it, my last month or two, I'm going to be able to implore you to do this. But get off the fence. And then I'm going to start saying in January, if you're a seller, let's go. It's seasonality. Works this way every year down here. So look, supply's starting to come down. We're at 4.5 months of supply. Nationally, we consider 6 months of supply to be a balanced market. Of course, in Palm Beach County, I think closer to 4 months is more fair, right? If you look at this chart. So I think we're very slightly favoring buyers here, but we're really creeping towards a balanced market. So keep your eye on it, guys. Important statistic to watch. So look, that's what I got for you this month. Thanks for watching as always, guys, and we'll see you next month.